Question 92, nitrogen dioxide can react with itself to produce dinitrogen tetroxide. 2NO2 turns into N2O4 and the KEQ is 0.01. In an experiment, 100 cm3, which is 100 mils by the way, of NO2 is placed in a syringe. The plunger is then pushed in until the volume is 50. It went from 100 mils down to 50 mils. We can track the information as we go, and we can see that from 100 to 50 mils, you're decreasing the volume. The system is allowed to return to equilibrium, which state is true for the system at equilibrium. And then have a look at the four options first to see what they're talking about. The value of KEQ has increased. The ratio NO2-N2O4 has decreased. These two are not the same thing, because if you write out your K expression for this question, you get N2O4 on NO2 squared. So you'll notice that the ratio and the equilibrium expression are not the same thing, which is why A and B are two different options. And then C, the concentration of N2O4 has decreased. The concentrations of NO2 and N2O4 have doubled. They're asking you about the value of K, they're asking you about concentration and which one's going to go up and which one's going to go down. So that's a position of equilibrium shifting kind of question. If we decrease volume, what happens to pressure?
It increases.
We increase pressure, which means the system wants to
decrease pressure.
The system wants to decrease pressure, and if it wants to decrease pressure, which way is it going to shift?
To the right.
It's going to shift to the right because that's the side with less moles of gas. Temperature is the only factor that can change your equilibrium constant. The position of equilibrium can shift, but the value of K itself cannot change unless you change temperature. So because here they've told you that they've kept temperature constant, A is not going to be your answer, because the value of K does not change unless you change temperature. And then you have a look at B, C, and D. You're shifting to the right, which means you're making more of the stuff on the right and you're making less of the stuff on the left. So the concentration of N2O4 should be increasing, not decreasing. So C is not your answer. And because you're shifting that way, the concentration of NO2 actually decreases. The concentration of NO2 actually decreases. So only the concentration of N2O4 increases by equilibrium. The concentration of NO2 actually decreases. So D is true for N2O4 only and not for NO2. So your only answer by the process of elimination is B.